Hey everybody, welcome back to my channel. In today's video, I'm going to be sharing a easy sponge cake recipe. Now I know it's Christmas Eve, but before Christmas Day rolls around, I wanted to give you guys a very quick recipe that you could go ahead and make if you have some guests coming over tonight, or if you just wanted something sweet on Christmas morning to eat as well. This sponge cake recipe right here is super fluffy, and it is the perfect kind of Guyana sponge cake. Definitely give this recipe a try. Let's get into it. In my stand mixer, I'm going to start creaming my butter and my sugar. For this recipe today, I'm using some softened golden cream butter. This is the Guyanese or Caribbean butter. If you wanted to use the butter sticks, you can definitely do that. Just make sure that they are softened very well. On top of the butter, we're going to go ahead and add in our white granulated sugar. You can use brown sugar for this recipe. Just know that it's going to change the color a little bit. We're just going to beat this together for a good 10 to 12 minutes until it is white, very fluffy, and the sugar has melted. And every once in a while, you want to make sure you go in and scrape down the sides of the bowl, so this way the butter and the sugar can beat evenly. You don't want anything to be left whole in the mixer. Now while the butter and sugar are creaming together, I'm going to go ahead and work on the dried ingredients just to make it easier for later on in the mixing process. In my bowl, I'm adding in some all-purpose flour. And if you all are looking for the ingredients and the full list of measurements, they'll be listed in the description box right below this video. On top of the all-purpose flour, I'm going to add in my baking powder. And on top of the baking powder, I'm going to go in with a little pinch of salt just to help bring out those sweet flavors. And then I'm going to go in with some freshly grated nutmeg. Now, whenever I make sponge cake, the only spice that I put in is nutmeg. That's what my grandmother taught me. If you like to add in any other spices, feel free to adjust as per your tastes and preferences. And at this point, we're just going to mix all of the dried ingredients together very well until everything's well combined. So my butter and sugar has been beating for a good 12 minutes at this point. As you all can see, it's almost doubled in size because it's so fluffy. The sugar has started to disintegrate into the butter and everything is well combined. So at this point, we're going to start to add in all of our flavorings. I'm going to go ahead and put in some vanilla essence as well as some almond essence. That's just what I like to use whenever I'm making sponge cake, but you can go ahead and adjust and do any flavors that you wish. And we're just going to beat those ingredients together until all of the flavors are mixed in very well. I also wanted to mention if you wanted to put some orange zest or lemon zest, you can also do that at this time. And at this point, it's time to start adding in our eggs one by one. I like to crack them in a big measuring cup and then pour them in one by one after they're well and mixed in. After you add in a couple of the eggs, I like to stop the mixer and scrape down the sides of the bowl just to make sure everything is well combined. If you don't do this step correctly, sometimes the mixture will separate and it doesn't mix well. And once all of the eggs are mixed in, you're going to lower the speed of the mixer to the lowest setting, and you're going to stir in all of the dried ingredients that we prepared earlier. Now the reason why we keep it on a low setting is because if you overmix this cake, it's going to be very tough and it ends up being dry in the end. So you want to make sure you're very careful and just lightly fold in all of these dried ingredients. And every once in a while, you'll stop the mixer and go ahead and scrape down the sides of the bowl to make sure all of the dried and wet ingredients have combined properly. And this step right here is what's going to make the cake come out very, very moist. I'm adding in a little bit of milk. Now this milk is just going to add some moisture to the cake and it will not dry out by the end of the cooking process. And the last thing that I did, which I forgot to catch on camera, is I added in a little bit of amaretto. Now amaretto is an almond liqueur and it's a type of alcohol. People usually make like amaretto sours with it. And this right here really adds another layer of flavor and moisture to the cake. So I went in with a couple of tablespoons. It will be listed in the description box below as part of the ingredients, but just know it is optional. You do not have to put it. Now once all of the ingredients are mixed together, we're going to transfer all of this batter into an 8-inch prepared dish. This dish has been buttered and then floured very well, and I'm going to put it in here. If you wanted to make mini cakes with this, if you wanted to make a bigger cake and double the recipe and use a bigger pan, you could do that as well. But for this 8-inch round cake, it took about 35 to 40 minutes to bake in total. Again, this is going to depend on your oven and how hot your oven gets. I went ahead and preheated my oven to 350 degrees, and once the cake was put into the oven, I lowered it to 325 so it could take its time and bake. You'll know that the cake is done when it starts to get nice and golden brown on top, and when you insert a toothpick in the middle and it comes out clean, then you know it's done. So you're going to have to gauge the time depending on your oven as well. So this is what my sponge cake looks like after baking. As you all can see, it's nice and golden brown all over. I'm going to let you know that whenever you use the milk in these cake recipes, it makes the cake a little bit crumbly on the sides when you're taking it out, but it's totally fine because it made the cake nice and moist in the middle. So I hope you all enjoyed this quick and easy sponge cake recipe. I have so many other sponge cake, black cake, and fruit cake recipes for the holiday season on my channel. Make sure you check them out for this holiday season, and I hope you all have a very Merry Christmas tomorrow. Have a safe holiday, enjoy all of the delicious food, all of your family, all of your friends, and just have a great one and get prepared for a great new year. I'll see you all again in my next video. Bye everyone.